At no point did any of those entities, not the chamber, not the N.T.U.C.B., not the NGO community, at no point did anybody call the Ministry of Education, call my cell phone. But I was disappointed in these entities because nobody bothered to find out what the facts were. In fact, on this entire issue, I gave one single interview that was on the day of the opening of the basketball court in the Farbers Road area along with the police. Nobody, including the media, have never written to us to say, can you give us the details of how things are going to be done here? And what is it that is specifically being done? You would think that those things would be done before you put out a press release as an entire entity to say, we condemn. And that is my issue with them. So I'm very disappointed at that. We were looking at two periods, the period of the strike and the period in January. Now, why is that important? It is important because when those submissions would be made then, that would determine exactly how much of the $1 million we would spend. So that all those who have gone off half-cocked saying, oh, it's $1 million, are really, they misread or they took it too far. In fact, the figures are looking more like $600,000. And I understand all those who say, listen, that's a lot of money. But this is the point I want people to understand. There were 11 days of strike. During those strike days, those teachers who would have qualified for at least a part of the honorarium, and I call it an honorarium for a reason. Those teachers went to work. Now, there are many arguments. These people worked or they did not work. Let's put that aside for a minute. As a result of the strike, we, along with the managing authorities, which is what the law prescribes, decided to amend the school's calendar to include 6 additional days. You remember this? 4 of those days were to be in January, from January 3rd, I think, to the 6th. And you remember that those days were sabotaged. So let's break it down to brass tacks, as my colleague Minister Finnegan would say. Forget the strike days. We have teachers turning up for 4 days of work in January that was sabotaged by the B.N.T.U. They told their members, don't turn up. So we have teachers who turned up for those 4 days of work. Are those teachers not to be compensated in any way? Is it so unfair to offer something to those teachers who turned up for those 4 days in their Christmas break, so to speak? And then those teachers are then required to take 3 days out of their Easter break and then 3 days out of their summer break. If you add up all of these days, these are 10 additional days that those teachers are asked to show up to work outside of the planned days. Don't those teachers deserve anything? Is it a waste to give those teachers an honorarium? Because if you pay them their daily rate for those 10 days, which we did not attempt to do, it would be far exceeding $1 million.